And hello everyone, I'm the Right Hand of Doom, and we're here with Zambi Slayer. We're here with Firefox
Hello.
and Rougie.
Boop.
So tonight's stream is
Goodness.
more than likely going to be fairly short. We want to go ahead and read pastas for you guys since next weekend is already Halloween. So we're going to go ahead and read a few of those. We're very light on crew tonight. Everyone was busy, and that's okay. So we're going to make the most of it. All right? So, who wants to start us off?
I can start considering, like, my computer is going to restart itself because updates. I am going to be reading The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. So, I hope you guys enjoy, and I apologize about the background noise. My family is carving pumpkins. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as if someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this, and nothing more. Distinctly I remember. It was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from the book surcease of sorrow. Sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before. So that now, 'tis still the beating of my heart I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. 'Tis some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This is it, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams that no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the darkness gave no token, and the only words there spoken was the whispered word "Lenore." As I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word "Lenore." Merely this, and nothing more. Back into my chamber turning, all my soul within me burning. Soon again I heard a tapping, somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window lattice. See me then what the threat. Let me see then what the threat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment and this mystery explore. 'Tis even and nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter, when, with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obstinance made he, not an instant stopped or stayed he, but with my lord or lady perched above the chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. "Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou," I said, "art sure no craven. Ghastly grim, an ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on this night's Plutonian shore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." Much I marveled at this ungainly fowl, to hear
I apologize. There seems to be some technical difficulties. Uh, Zambia seems to have cut out. Can any of y'all hear us? Okay.
Are you asking
Yes.
us or are you
Yes.
asking?
I'm asking
Okay.
you guys.
Oh, I thought you
Currently,
meant
we
like
have
us.
no audience, so
I apologize. I just switched over to my my computer, and it's showing that I'm still in the call. Oddly.
We have a clone in our stream.
Oh
No,
my.
my
I'm
computer
flying.
is doing updates, so I'm gonna finish off where I left off. Give me just a second here. I
not a
apologize.
problem.
Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little relevancy bore. We cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing a bird above his chamber door, or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such a name as Nevermore. But the raven sitting lonely on the placid bust spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word did outpour. Nothing farther than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, Nevermore. Startled at the stillness broken by my reply so aptly spoken, doubtless, said I, what it utters is only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master, whom unmerciful disaster followed faster till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore, of never, nevermore. But then the raven sat beguiling my sad soul into smiling. Straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of the bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to thinking, fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking, Nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing, to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining with the lamplight gloating o'er, she shall press, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by angels whose faint footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch! I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite, respite and nepenthe from my memories of Lenore. Quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget the lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still. If bird or devil, whether tempter sent, or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird... Wait, did I just read? No, that's repeated. Okay. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by the heaven that bends above us, by the God we both adore, tell this soul, with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aden it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore.
Quoth the raven. Nevermore. Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked, upstarting. Get thee back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plumes as token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak out of my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, and his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadows on the floor. And my soul, from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor, shall be lifted nevermore. And that was The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe.
Awesome job. We apologize for any of the background noise that you may be hearing from Zambi's end. But does anyone else want to go?
I could try to go.
Okay. We'll go ahead with Ruji.
Okay, this is a story called Check Out by my good friend Big Bad King Boom Boo. The air is filled with the insistent beeping of checkout lanes, and the constant shouts and screaming of customers and kids. It's a workday, all right. My nerves grind on like rusty gears as another round of groceries advances down the belt. My temples beat like drums, and another order, bagged and ready to ship out. Next in the line is a youngish woman, dark-haired, brown eyes, couldn't be older than 30. Sitting in the basket of her cart was an infant, blonde hair, looks like she just learned to walk maybe a month ago or so. Regardless, the one especially noticeable thing about the kid was that she wouldn't stop screaming. Unfortunately, the kid wasn't one of those soft voice typed either. Still, I still wonder what damage that kid did to my ears in the long run. So I started bagging her groceries as they came down the belt. So far, nothing unusual. Just the kid screaming her head off. But as time went by, I began to notice that the mom never once even looked at the kid during this. I brushed it off as her probably having to deal with this most of the day. But looking back, she never even tried to talk to the kid, let alone look at her. I'm actually surprised I didn't catch on sooner, if I'm going to be honest. I finished getting her stocked up in a relatively short amount of time. Kid still screaming. I sent her and her child on their way. I leaned back a bit, taking in a deep breath. As I exhaled, I sarcastically muttered something about how great my job was. Suddenly, this blonde woman runs up to my lane, looking around and acting panicky. She looks a bit more than the brunette that just came by. Definitely taller. This lady starts freaking out a bit and breaks down into tears. It takes us 10 minutes to calm her down, and she starts explaining what's going on. Apparently, she had left her cart with an infant child inside to go get something off the top shelf. She couldn't even she couldn't have been away for more than a minute. But by the time she got back, her child was gone. The only thing that let her know her child was still in the store was her screaming. Fast Checkout by Big Bad King Boo Boo.
Not bad. Thank you so much for reading that, Ruji.
No problem.
All right. And we'll go ahead and Fox, do you want to go ahead and read? Or did you want me to go?
You can go first.
Okay, not a problem. This one is by Robert W. Service. It's in the public domain, and you can find, of course, at the nightlordlibrary.com. This is The Cremation of Sam McGee. There are strange things done in the midnight sun for the men who mull for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest thing they ever did see was the night on the marge of Lake Labarge. I cremated Sam McGee. Now Sam McGee was from Tennessee, where the cotton blooms and blows. Why he left his home to the south to roam round the pole, God only knows. He was always cold, but the land of gold seemed to hold him like a spell, though he'd often say his homely way that he'd sooner live in hell. On a Christmas day we were mushing our way over the Dawson Trail. Talk of your cold, the parka fold, it stabbed like a driven nail. If our eyes we'd closed, then lash the froze we still sometimes. Then the lashes froze till sometimes we couldn't see. It wasn't much fun, but the only one to whimper was Sam McGee. And that very night, as we lay packed tight in our robes beneath the snow, and the dogs were fed, and the stars overhead were dancing heel to toe, he turned to me, and Cap, says he, I'll cash in this trip, I guess, and if I do, I'm asking that you won't refuse my last request. Well, he seemed so low I couldn't say no. Then he says with a sort of moan, It's a cursed cold, and it's got right hold, till I'm chilled clean through to the bone. Yet 'tain't been dead, it's awful dread of the icy grave that pains. So I want you to swear that foul or fair, you'll cremate my last remains. A pal's last need is a thing to heed, so I swore I would not fail. And we started on the streak of dawn, but God, he looked ghastly pale. He crouched on the sleigh, and he raved all days of home in Tennessee. Before nightfall, a corpse was all that was left of Sam McGee. There wasn't a breath in that land of death, and I hurried, horror-driven, with a corpse half hid that I couldn't get rid because of promise given. It was lashed to the sleigh, and it seemed to say, You may tax your brawn and brains, but you promised true, and it's up to you to cremate those last remains. Now a promise made is a debt unpaid, and the trail has its own stern code. In the days to come, though my lips were dumb, in my heart how I cursed that load. In the long, long night by the lone firelight, while the huskies round in a ring howled out their woes to the homeless snows, oh God, how I loathed the thing. And every day that quiet claim seemed heavy and heavier grow, and on I went through, though dogs were spent and the grub was getting low. The trail was bad, and I felt half mad, but I swore I would not give in, and I'd often sing that hateful thing I had hearkened with a grin, till I came to the marge of Lake Labarge, and a derelict there I lay. And derelict there lay. It was jammed in the ice, but I saw it in a thrice. It was called the Alice May. And I looked at it, and I thought a bit, and I looked at the frozen chum. Then here, said I, with a sudden cry, is my crematorium. Some planks I tore from the cabin floor, and I lit the boiler fire. Some coals I found that was lying around, and I heaped the fuel higher. The flames just soared, and the furnace roared, such a blaze you seldom see. And I burrowed a hole in the glowing coal, and I stuffed in Sam McGee. Then I made a hike, for I didn't like to hear him sizzle so. And the heavens scowled, and the huskies howled, and the wind began to blow. It was icy cold, with the hot sweat rolled down my cheeks, and I didn't know why. And the greasy smoke in an inky cloak went streaming down the sky. I don't know how long in the snow I wrestled with grisly fear. But the stars came out, and they danced about ere again I ventured near. I was sick with dread, but I bravely said, I'll just take a peep inside. I guess he's cooked, and it's time I looked. Then the door I opened wide. And there sat Sam, looking cool and calm, in the heart of the furnace roar. And he swore, and he wore a smile you could see a mile. And he said, Please, could you shut the door? It's fine in here, but I greatly fear you'll let in the cold and storm. Since I left Plumtree down in Tennessee, it's the first time I've been warm. There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who mourn for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales. It would make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights. The queerest thing they ever see was that night on the marsh of Lake Lavage. I cremated Sam McGee.
Wow.
Good job, dude.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome job.
Thank you. So, Fox, are you ready?
Well, I'm kind of torn between two, if I truth be told.
Well, you can do one, and if we want, we can do another round.
Alrighty.
Depends on what the viewers want. So go ahead and pick the one you like most. And viewers, tell us what you think.
Alrighty. I suppose I shall tell the story of the odd kid, also found at Nightlore Library. There was certainly something odd about Neil. Part of it was the way he would always silently walk about the school halls, never stopping or talking to anyone along the way. He wore a huge jacket that bloated his thin frame, and I never saw him without it. Nobody was really friends with him, and I never saw him too often. This was why I was surprised to find out that, by some strange means, my buddy Sarah was able to befriend him. One day, she asked if I would meet her outside the front of the school after class. She would introduce me to him, and we'd chat a bit before we went our separate ways. I couldn't resist, so I took the offer. After class had ended, I walked up to Sarah and Neil. Both of them were just casually talking until they saw me. Sarah gave a warm, "Hello!" while Neil quietly nodded his head in greeting. At this point, I absolutely knew something was wrong with Neil. I took note of his pale skin tone, which didn't surprise me, considering he hardly seemed to get out a lot. I had recalled that he had an aversion to the school lunches, especially on Wednesdays when seasoned breadsticks were served. It was somewhat awkward, but we chatted for a little while. Neil threw in a few words now and then. It was starting to get a bit later in the evening, so we all decided to head home. By the time we had finished our conversation, I had noticed something I will not forget. At one point before we left, I had turned to Sarah. I could see the reflection of the nearby street in her larger-sized glasses. I could see the street, but not Neil. I watched silently in horror as they walked off. Neil pulling his hood over his head as he walked out into the sunlit street.
Awesome. Now, I believe that story was actually by Dimension Bucket himself. If I
Yes,
recall.
it was.
Nice.
I always liked that one. It's very subtle. It was so good the way he did it.
I know. I caught on a few things when, especially when they started mentioning the seasoned breadsticks. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
um,
He does subtle very well, to be honest. He does
Oh.
it so well.
it is very nice.
He
Okay.
seemed to.
So, did anyone have any others that they want to read other than...
I do, but I will let somebody else read first because I am not. It's a story that I wrote. However, I need to edit some things before I read it.
Okay, not a problem. Ruji, did you have another one, or...
Oh, oh no.
Okay. Foxy, you want to hit us with that second one?
Certainly. It's also from Nightlore, and it's called Why I Hate the Beach. I believe it was written by user Korax2667. Every summer it's the same thing. All my friends want to go to the beach, and I do whatever I can to get out of going. I make up some excuse or play it off with some joke, and I hope the topic does not get brought up again. I don't tell people the real reason I don't go to the beach, or why I don't like spending too long in the shower, or being around water in general. I'm writing this because I hope getting it off my chest will help me get over this thing. It all started when I was 8. My family had taken a trip to the beach. I remember being so excited to go. I remember running to the water's edge as soon as we climbed over the small hill between the parking lot and the sand. I remember my dad yelling at me to stop as he came running over and grabbed me. I had to wait till we set up the cooler and chairs and all that, he said. Finally, after my mom had rubbed suntan lotion on me and my sister, I was finally allowed to go into the water. I ran as fast as my legs could into it. I remember how hot the day was, par for the course for a late July day, and I remember how nice the cold ocean water felt. I splashed around for about an hour or so, keeping close to shore like I was told. Oh, at least at first. But like most kids do, I slowly began to back out into deeper water, becoming confident in my ability to safely swim back to shore. I remember I got to where I couldn't feel my feet on the sand anymore. Then I heard it. Someone was calling my name. I stopped and looked around, but no one seemed to be trying to get my attention, so I ignored it and went back to swimming. After a few moments, I heard the voice call out again, but this time it was while I was underwater. I grabbed a fresh breath and quickly dove back down. I heard the voice again, calling out to me from the deeper water. I don't know why I did it, but I followed the voice. And suddenly something grabbed my foot and pulled me down. I struggled as much as I could, but I could feel my lungs begin to burn from lack of air. I was about to give up, but then whatever it was let go of my leg and I rose to the surface. I quickly came up and took a deep breath. I began to swim back to shore, but I stopped. I couldn't see the shore. I looked all around me and I couldn't see anything but open water all around me. Not only that, but something else was wrong. I couldn't see the sun. I mean, it was a beautiful, sunny day before, not a cloud in the sky. But now, only light gray sky. I looked around and the water was perfectly black. I didn't move. I just kept looking around me, hoping that I would see sand, but none. Then, just as I was beginning to cry, I felt the hand grab my leg and pull me back down. Next thing I remember, a lifeguard was standing over me. Apparently I had gone out too far, and the undertow had taken me under. For the rest of the day, I didn't go anywhere near the water, and was glad when we finally left. I never told anyone what really happened to me because I didn't think anyone would believe an 8-year-old story. But I know it's true. I know it's true because every time I go swimming in a pool, sit in a hot tub, or stay in the shower too long, I hear it calling me back. Nathan, we're waiting. Come swim with us.
I applaud. That was amazing.
Very good. Damn.
Thank you.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I don't feel like I can live up to that, but I'm gonna try.
That scares me a bit, but really good job.
Thank you.
I also have 2 stories, if you guys want to hear them.
Okay.
One's on Night Lore, and then, of course, there's the one that I wrote. The one that's on Night Lore is called Drifting Snow, and it is by a good friend of mine named Celtic Cabot. Children never listen to us old folks. I don't know why, but it's always been that way. Every year I warn them to get off my lawn, and every year they never listen. It isn't dangerous in spring, summer, and fall, but I keep warning them anyway. You know, to try to get them into the habit of stopping on the sidewalk, but come winter. Last winter I had new neighbors, and I just knew their kids were a goner. They never listened to a word anyone said. Their ball slid over the snow in my yard, and they soon followed. I called for them to get off my lawn, but they kept running. I tried to warn them, I truly did, but they just wouldn't listen. Soon the snow just started to drift toward them and their ball. Just before the boy rested his small hands on either side of it, the snow drifted over him and settled back down. I collected the ball when the spring melted the snow. That ball, along with the other lost toys. That little boy is gone for good. Starting to get tired of warning children, though. Always keeping an eye out for the children that, let's be honest, would never listen anyway. And besides, I noticed that the more children go missing, greener my grass is come spring. And that is drifting snow like Celtic habit.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
Cabot-
a bit creepy.
Cabot's a
Dang.
wonderful writer.
She
and
really is. She. God, we have so many talented friends. I swear to God.
Yeah.
I have noticed that you guys do.
And then there's
My
what
goodness.
I'm about to read. So, personally, I don't feel like it's as good as the rest of them. However, I'm going to try anyway. So,
Ambate.
people come and people go. Some stay, some leave. However, the one thing that's a constant in everybody's life is that we die. Where do we go when we die? Well, the Christians believe that we go to heaven or hell, depending on how we behave while alive. Ancient Greeks believed that you went to Hades, and the treatment you got there depended on how you acted toward the gods. Hindu culture believed in reincarnation. Omnitheists, however, believe something a little more widespread. Omnitheism takes beliefs and morals from all cultures and believes in all gods, as well as beings named the Elders. They believe that when you die, you go straight to hell. However, hell isn't what you think of as the eternal pit of fire, or your worst memory relived for eternity, or whatever people think of as hell. Hell is a giant celestial waiting list. When you get to the end of hell, you're judged. If you were good in life, you go to paradise. If you were evil, you go to the meta realm. The meta realm is what most people think of as hell. The eternal flame. The worst nightmare. However, if you were a neutral entity, like most of us are, you go to purgatory. Purgatory is similar to the Hindu belief of reincarnation, in which you keep going into more and more bodies until you eventually reach nirvana. However, in purgatory, you only get one so-called reincarnation. When you revive, you stay a soul. The body that you're in, of course, has its own soul. You and this other person share the body until its time comes. You are then judged again, whilst they go to hell. During life, it is your job to push those people in the right direction while you live. Wait. While alive, it is your job to push those...
I'm not chasing you down tonight. You damn cold. I'm gonna chase you.
Sorry. It is your job to push those people in the right direction while you are alive. Or else the amalgamation of both souls' wrongdoing would end you in the meta realm. This gets especially interesting when people report seeing ghosts. It's really their purgatory soul projecting a solid image where there is not one. In cases of poltergeists and mass hauntings, the purgatory soul is much, much stronger than usual and exponentially more dangerous. What most people think of as a ghost breathing on the back of your neck is your second half giving you a warning. However, the idea of ghosts is absurd. There are no souls without bodies. When called attention to, they become more active and more restless. Don't worry, they won't hurt you. But what was that noise? And that was
Wow.
that was my story.
Nice
It's
job.
entitled Omni.
It's very interesting.
Interesting indeed.
Thank you.
Excellent. So, anyone else? Because I've got one last one.
I finally found a story to narrate, if that's okay.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
This is from the Nightlore website, and it's called Tasty Eye, written by Inspiration Minuet. I sit in my favorite chair. I'm thinking. What about, you ask? Why? That is none of your business, is it now? However, for once, I'll indulge you, I suppose. I'm wondering about taste. More specifically, the taste of certain foods. I like odd, unusual recipes. I have quite an open mind, if you see. I am indeed willing to taste everything and anything. Yes. You don't believe me? Well, why don't you just suggest something then? Yes, I do mean anything. Have you made a choice yet? What is taking so long? Ah, you have decided. Yes, I'm certain I want to taste whatever you have in mind. Stop questioning me. Is it quite tedious, I assure you? Now, what is it that devious mind of yours has concocted? Why, of course I would try that. How preposterous of you to think otherwise. I raised my hand to my face. Carefully I positioned my fingers just so. I am precise in my movements. I dig in. It is curious how many veins are in a single eye. Though the blood makes for a filling sauce, don't you think? I raise the ball to my nose and sniff it. The smell of blood, which covers my face as well as the ball, is quite overwhelming. I then put it near my mouth. My tongue flicks out and I taste it. Once more, the blood ruins the taste sadly. I finally take a bite. It is rather smooth, the bit that is in my mouth. I turn it around with my tongue, inspecting the texture further. It feels somewhat hard, yet flexible. It is not unpleasant, agreeable. Perhaps I should have cooked it first, though. Maybe next time. Too bad I have got only two of these. I have quite fond of the texture. You want a piece? It has a peculiar taste, but I am sure you will enjoy it. No? Well, more for me. I never took myself for an auto cannibal, if that's what this is called. I should look it up. Ugh, what a bloody mess. I have to clean it all up. It is sad I have to toss this shirt. This this much blood is hard, if not impossible, to get out. I speak from experience. Do you know an eye, or the lack of an eye, rather, could bleed this much? Tasty, and that is Tasty Eye, written by Inspiration Minuet. I'm sorry if this is kind of gory thing. I
Holy
didn't expect
cow.
that. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
it's Halloween
sorry.
time.
However, I just gotta say, Ruji, I think it made it creepier the way you innocently, sweetly read that.
She's got a
Thank you.
point. She got a point. Have you guys found any other ones that you wanted to read, or?
I have
Um,
actually, but you can go first if you guys want.
Okay, because I was just gonna go ahead and do one of my patented. I haven't patented shit yet.
I was gonna say I found one too, but by all means you can go ahead, Doom.
Well, you had, 2 turns already.
That's what I'm saying.
No, you're fine. Did you want to go first, though?
No, you can go first. I'm fine.
Yay, thank you. Okay. Totally not, changing the tone of the stream at all. Okay, back to the creepy. So, as you all know, if you're on this channel, I'm known specifically for one thing. So, here we go. Something I haven't done in a long time for you folks. In any city, in any country,
Oh
go
shit!
to any mental institution or halfway house and get yourself to. When you reach the front desk, ask to visit someone who calls himself the Holder of Rage. The person will appear shy as they show you to a door, and then walk away. When you enter the door, you will be looking down a staircase that ascends into darkness. As you descend the stairs, you will begin to hear screams. Screams will come from a throat of indeterminate origin. If the screaming stops at any time, shout to the darkness, "Resume your business. I do not wish to intrude." If the screaming does not come back, there is nothing you can do. For you will be dead before you know what happens. If the screaming continues, you may move on. Eventually, you will see light coming through the cracks. Eventually, you will see light coming through the cracks in a door. Go through this door, and you will be in what appears to be a medieval dungeon. Hollowed-out skulls filled with candles serve as lanterns, and skeletons line the walls. There will be a wooden table in front of a fire, inside of a fireplace. On this table is the severed head of a 4-year-old girl, staring with glassy eyes. Step up to the table and look the head in the eyes. In a clear, commanding voice, ask, "Who will stop them from coming together?" The head will look you in the eyes and tell you the tale of a man. She will tell you his entire story, from his violent birth to what he is doing that very moment. His deeds will be recounted in horrifying detail. He is a murderer, of which the likes have never been seen, and he is just as mad. If at the end of the story the head tells you, he is listening to our conversation. You will be dragged out of the room and never heard from again. You will experience all the most horrifying things ever conceived, and you will be kept alive until you have experienced them all. But if she tells you he is elsewhere, he is now looking for you. He will not stop until you are dead or the objects come together. She will then tell you to pick her up. Pick the head up by her hair and look at the table where she was. Sitting there will be a needle covered in dried blood, semen, pus, and countless unidentifiable substances. That needle is object 21 of 538. The hunt has begun, and the clock is ticking.
Ooh, I love the Holder stories.
Oh my god.
man.
I figured I'd go with that one since I've got the first 20 on my channel, so.
Nice.
That is awesome, dude. That is awesome.
Thank you. I love the
I'm
Holder
thinking
series.
about putting. I'm thinking about putting up 15 of the 15 recordings I did. Some of which I think I did number 4 and number 7. So you probably have that on your channel already.
Yeah.
But I did
Look
about
forward to
15 of
seeing that.
those, and they were pretty awesome.
So, were you gonna go, Fire?
If it's not too much of a trouble,
No,
it's
you
a
can
very
go ahead.
short story.
No, that's fine.
Feel free.
I have I have one too. But you go ahead first.
Okay. So the last one I'm going to do is called "I Used to Have a Cat," found on the Nightlore Library site,
I was gonna
written
read
by
that.
Mad
Okay.
Odin. I used to have a cat. I mean, I suppose that's where all this starts, at least. She was an older, dark-furred thing, and by that point she looked to be nearing the end of a long life. As with many of the other pets I've had in the past, she had started to reach the beginning stages of senility. It was the most noticeable at night. I would wake up at 3 o'clock to empty the tank, and I would see her laying in the bathtub by the toilet, staring off into space. Her wet fur shined dully in the faint light. Of course, I didn't take mind to it at first. You sort of just continue on and keep an eye out if the problem shows any sign of growing worse. I would go to bed, giving her one last look before I turned the lights out. This would happen every night to the point where it seemed per usual. That all changed, though. One night I wake up, half to the usual nature's call and half to the sounds of growling coming from another part of the house. I scramble out of bed and stagger down the hall to the guest room, where that growling only seemed to get louder. I turn on the bathroom light. The shower curtain is pulled back. I hear something moving, and there's this sparse grunt I can hardly make out. I take a step forward into the room and tilt my head to see what in hell is taking place. There's a thing moving around in there by the bathroom drain. The shape is indistinguishable, but it looks to be getting smaller. It's wriggling around, and a few seconds later it's gone. slipped out of sight. At that point, there was no telling what was going through my head. I mean, my feet are glued in place. I think I might have screamed at some point, and there's sweat trickling down from my forehead. I get a closer look, and sure enough, there's a streak of black hairs leading to the bathtub drain. The grating itself was gone, cut through, bent downward. All of that was 2 nights ago. I could not sleep a wink. That next morning, my realizations were confirmed. The cat was laying there in the bathtub, except something was off. She wasn't staring into space. She was staring at me. That awful look in her eyes. That damp fur shining as it always did. I locked that door without so much as a second glance. I would have sooner pissed in the kitchen sink. I've put a chair under the bathroom doorknob for now. Sometimes I hear it grunt, and now and then it'll pound at the walls. One thing is for sure, it is not getting out. I used to have a cat. Not anymore.
And I'm not sleeping tonight.
Wow. Definitely not
I hope none of the audience has a cat.
There are
No, I have
literally
a
2
cat,
cats
so this is gonna be
staring at me
interesting.
right now. Thanks, Fire. Thanks.
Keep an eye open tonight, Sam.
Keep it spoopy.
Yeah. So I have 2.
Pick
If-
one. Pick one.
It's hard because one is one of my favorites and one is going to kick off a new series that I'm starting for my channel.
So pick your favorite child.
My favorite child?
Yes, just pick your favorite child and just go with it.
That's so mean.
Well,
No, just
well,
pick
Doom,
one.
I'm sorry, but Razzle is my favorite child.
Blasphemy. Just go with. Oh my gosh. Just go with the one. Go with the first one first, and we'll see if we do another round. Because you know what? It's Halloween week, coming up. So let's get as spoopy as we can.
Get
Okay.
spoopy!
Well, this one isn't really spoopy. The one that I was going to do, it's more of like a comedic pasta from, so I'm not going to do that one. So I'm going to do this one. This is a new series that I'm going to be starting on my channel called Legion's Objects. It is a offshoot of the original 536. Is it 536? 563? Anyway, 500 some odd
538.
objects, and there's a bunch of different objects in Legion's Objects, so I'm going to start with one that I feel is pretty good for the time of year it is, getting in the spoopy. So here we go. This is the Holder of Horror. In any city, in any country, go to the nearest morgue or mortuary and locate either a DNA, morgue attendant, or autopsy technician, and ask to speak to the Holder of Horror. Almost instantly after this question is asked, the handler will ask if you wish to see your mother's face. Calmly answer, "Take me to the end of the hall." He will ask you if you wish to see the rest of your family. As it is an important call, once again, calmly answer. Take me to the end of the hall. With a grave look of repugnance on their face, they will wave you to follow. If they do not wave, and you blindly follow them around the corner, you may accidentally follow the rest of the guide. Wait, what? And when you approach the door will pull you into a chamber of madness, leaving you to see every horrific sight that ever existed since the creation of time, to the point of your ultimate epitome. The worst part is that you will be trapped in this loop as time is reborn. Follow this guide carefully. As you follow them, you will constantly begin to notice the building's normal interior design change dramatically when you turn around the corridor. Almost all of the walls seem to be converted in a tree bark material, with what appears to be blood dripping from the bark. Sorry. You may notice disfigured corpses pinned to the walls with most of their flesh ripped out, some organs simply dangling. Should you try to touch any of the corpses, dangling or lying about, you may be pulled forcefully toward the corpse. When this happens, you may hear screams. Should the scream surprise you, you will become one with the corpse, and it will slowly devour you as its horrifying screams paralyze you. You will not be devoured forever, so hope that it will be a quick consumption. This unfortunate fate befalls you. If you're being pulled by the screams, try to remember what the scene of your surrogate mother was like. And should you be lucky enough to have survived the encounter, you will be let go from the reanimated. You will always feel the fear and doom by the particular corpse that may have grabbed you, however. As the hall trenches on deep ground, the bark-like material will start forming material of decaying flesh and skin of all former living beings. You will notice the rotting odor of something unexplained. Along with this, reanimated corpses resembling the rest of your family on the walls, screaming your name and for help. Do not give in, or you will meet a fate worse than previously mentioned. The mortician, who may have led you all this way, will now present you with 2 matches and a glowing vial. Do not open this vial in the physical plane of existence. The mortician will show you what appears to be a door, which is completely black, with no sign of a doorknob or even a physical material. Light one of the matches and hold your arm out to the non-existent door. Search in the darkness. You will see the doorknob made of flesh. Turn it counterclockwise quickly. If your arm is still in the void when the match goes out, you will lose that limb to the void instantly and extremely painfully. Once the doorknob is turned, you will notice reality warp completely around, and that you will be on the mirror opposite side of the door, seeing a horrifically twisted version of yourself in the mortician. You are now in the place that time forgot. Do not turn around and do not affix your gaze to anything inside of this room until you light your second match. Sorry, I lost my place. The doorway you seem to have entered will go totally black. You may safely turn around and navigate the darkness. On the other ethereal plane, you must never have a conscious thought that a floor, a wall, or a ceiling exists, or it will instantly drop you, rip you apart, or crush you. Your boundaries of reality give existence to this plane, while illumination is present. Keep walking, and you will see an ancient hatch on the floor that your small match will light up. Pull it open with your remaining hand. If your match goes out before this, you will be trapped in the sanctum of the Forgotten, where screams, pain, and terror from the known bombard you for the rest of the infinity. When you open the hatch enough to fit through, jump inside and dispose of the match. You will enter from the ceiling. You are now in a very simple room where furniture remains static in an inverted position on the floor. You will see the back of an old man's body floating lonely in the middle of the room. Do not say anything yet, or his screams of agony will cause your eyes to burst. He will slowly turn around, and you will notice that the front of his body is completely missing, exposing his organs and two distinct black hole-like eye sockets that are almost encouraging you to look into them. Do not look at his empty eyes, and do not have an expression of surprise or fear on your face while facing the old man, or your soul will be drained from you into his mind. Very calmly and very quietly ask, what is the essence of horror? He will now test your will. Within a split second, he lets out a horrifying, mind-numbing shriek, with the particularly violent and unbelievably haunting noise that will cause you to break down violently. You will never forget the time you heard this noise. Darkness would consume your vision temporarily, so it would be best to turn away from the old man before you writhe in agony of the horrors that have been encountered since the conception of time. The room will begin to spin, and the walls will start bleeding something very dark from the floor up to the ceiling. The floor will almost melt from hardwood into a metal floor covered with rotting flesh. The most disgusting odor will enter your nostrils. Selectively or not, the ceiling will give way to an animated pile of bodies dripping some of their aged, rotting flesh, bone, and sinew to the already converted floor, and possibly onto you. We'll also hear the sound of skulls cracking, children screaming violently in pain, organs being shredded by something sharp, executions of men, groping of women, and more, and many more sounds that will involuntarily cause you to vomit. Do not openly embrace the constant feelings of lost hope and abandonment that will surge through your mind and your veins as this occurs. The madness you will encounter will be one you have never felt. If you are unable to remember a family member's laughter while this state of hilarity ensues, it is too late. And you will become the next victim of the old man's terror forever. Eventually, time unknown, based on the number of sins you committed, will cause the shriek to stop. It's difficult at this point for many seekers to get back on their knees at this stage. And many seekers forget in their madness to not show the old man their expression or look into his eyes. When you are finally on your 2 feet again, the old man will turn around once again and slowly reface you, but this time with a humanly appearance. You will notice he now looks like a charming older man from the early 20th century. One might even say dapper. He pulls a chair towards you and asks you to sit down, and recounts the story of the birth of the reality of horror. Eventually, he will finish this story, and he will tell you that smashing that vial you were given will open up a momentary doorway to the place you were before. He will ask to shake your hand, continue to politely disagree as he may offer as your body could implode by the touch of living horror. Eventually, he will present to you a small jewelry box lined with gold that you can safely remove from his hand. Do not open it, no matter what the whispers from the box or voices in your head say. The old man will slowly turn around to face away forever. Take this time to break the vial against the wall or floor. You'll find yourself going through the rip in the realm of terror. After seeing a bright flash, you will wake up on one of the autopsy tables. As you get off the bed, you notice the building will be empty. Find the exit and escape before terror finds its way into your mind. The jewelry box is object 1485 of 2538. And something tells you shouldn't open it if you wish to preserve the sanity of you and of the ones you love. Well, I kind of fudged that up, but
You did great. No,
okay.
don't worry. Also, welcome Luna
That's
Corva
awesome.
to the stream.
welcome.
Oh, so glad you could
Hello.
join us, Luna.
Welcome,
Thanks, I
Luna.
didn't actually know the stream had started.
It's all right. So, does anyone else have a story that they want to go ahead and read?
I got a
I've
very
got-
short poem. Oh, sorry,
Oh.
Luna.
No, you guessed.
Okay.
We'll go ahead with Ruji's.
Alright, sorry.
What are you apologizing for?
Just for interrupting myself, but anyway, it's a short poem called I Am a Robot by Dimension Bucket. I am a robot. I spend my day walking around, cleaning the floors. I don't know when my master will arrive. He is very friendly. I like to recycle. It's good for society. On Wednesdays, I like to commute along the perimeter of my cell. On good days, I'll exterminate the local pest. On bad days, I will release the ones I kept as pets. On Saturdays, I will visit Master. He is very, he is good to me. Maybe you should join me. You'll make a good playmate. If you're good enough, maybe Master will give you a metal casing, like me. And that is I Am a Robot by Dimension Bucket.
Awesome.
Not bad.
Dang.
Beep boop.
Okay. Anyone else?
I've got 3 potential ones, but there's a problem with each. There's a different problem with each one of them.
Are they too
Oh.
long, or?
No, the length isn't an issue. It's just the first one is a Slenderman one, and I feel that's kind of overdone these days. The second one was more a story I'd be recounting from memory, so it wouldn't really be in a narrative format. And the third one is a scene from a larger story, so I really only be telling part of a story.
Then let's go ahead and do the shorter ones. Don't worry that it's Slender Man, that it's overly done or anything.
Sure.
It's fine. You know what? It's Creepypasta time. It's
Cool.
Halloween time. We tell all the stories.
Especially the
Then
spoopy
give me a
ones.
second. Then give me a second to find it. You guys can talk.
Okay, no problem.
So do a different one.
Fox, did you have one?
Well, actually, there was a story that was just brought up to us from CreepyRainbowPasta, and it's called Nightmares, and I actually really like the look of it. It's short, but I love it. Would it be all right if I read it?
Yes.
Yes, so CreepyRainbowPasta did write this, and again, it's called Nightmares. Nightmares. The kind that make you wake up in a cold sweat and give you the feeling of nausea. Nightmares that render your thoughts and halt all bodily movement. Yes, those kinds of nightmares. You're helpless to move. The fear you have gives adrenaline to your body that leaves you still and staring into the darkness of your bedroom. Did you see that? That dark figure at the end of your bed. It's standing still. You see nothing but a silhouette, no eyes, no mouth, nothing. Your breathing is shallow, in and out of your nose. Your eyelids remain open, quivering as you try to shut them. You are paralyzed. But what is that sound? That creaking in the floorboards. Walking, perhaps. Your mind making up noises, maybe. The figure has not moved. It's all in your head. It has to be. You're not crazy, right? You managed to make yourself blink, still looking at the end of your bed. The silhouette is gone, as well as the creaking. It really was all in your head. You managed to regain function of your body and sit up. You look at each corner of the dark room and see nothing. You turn your body and reach for your lamp. Your fingers wrap around the switch and turn it on. You slowly turn your head to scan the room. You freeze. The shadow. The shadow never left. It's approaching. And here you thought the nightmares were all in your head.
Well, Fire, again, thank you for letting me not sleep tonight.
Great job.
She's very
Great-
good at that, right?
And great job to Creepy Rainbow Pasta for writing that. If you guys don't mind,
I love it.
What
Yeah,
is
she's
that ding
good.
sound I keep hearing?
the what?
The ding, ding.
Oh, that might mean, especially if you're on mute, you get that sound.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you're on mute and there's noise, that's the sound telling you you're on mute. And
Yeah.
Oh,
But don't worry, you can ignore that sound, because sometimes it's better not to be rude. I've got another one by Creepy Rainbow Pasta called...
also, I found the thing.
I'm very happy to hear that, sir. Thank you. This one is, again, by Creepy Rainbow Pasta. It is called Watching You. Have you ever had the feeling you were being watched? That gnawing feeling in your mind that eyes are on you. You're in your bedroom, lights out. You've had a long day at work, and you just want peace and quiet in your cozy bed. The best place to be right now. But then that feeling comes. That eerie feeling in your gut that someone is watching you. It's nothing. It has to be, right? I mean, you're 2 stories up in your apartment with the doors always locked. No one could be possibly watching you. But that feeling won't go away. You turn on your bedside table light just to make the feeling vanish and assure yourself that no one is in your room or at your windows. You get off your bed and look outside. Nothing but the parking lot to your apartment, and cars filling it. You check your closet. Also nothing. You take a 360 spin around your room to find nothing out of the ordinary. You take a deep breath. You're overreacting. You must be. You smile and head back to bed, climb in, and take another deep breath to relax and find a comfortable position to fall asleep in. The feeling returns, only it's stronger, and you know someone has to be watching you. You freeze. But how? You check your room and outside your window. You think your paranoia is getting the better of you, and you close your eyes. You just need sleep. Then you hear breathing. Breathing that isn't your own. You forgot to look under the bed.
Crap baskets.
And
Oh,
no
no.
sleep for me ever. Rainbow, shout out to you. You are an amazing writer.
You
That was
are
a
Rainbow.
really great one.
Oh, gosh. I was so torn between that one and Nightmares, but I decided to go with Nightmares.
Again, we know so many talented people, I swear.
Goodness gracious.
Luna,
That we
did you
do.
want Luna, did you want to go ahead and go next?
Sure. This
Awesome.
the one I've got is actually a Sherlock Sunderman crossover.
Dude.
First exposure I had to Slenderman.
Get out of my head.
Written in script format too, and just because I know it'll amuse you guys, I'll be doing all of Sherlock's lines in Dick Detective's voice.
I approve this. I
File.
approve this so hard.
I could help you out as well, actually.
How so?
I'm sorry, Luna?
Sorry, what? Hello?
Sorry, yes.
You guys can hear
hello?
me, right?
Yes, we can hear
You
you
can hear
just
me?
fine. Yes, we can hear you
Okay.
just fine, sir.
Then why did you
Zambia,
say sorry?
Zambia was trying to ask you if she could help out, but let's go ahead and continue on. This is your first time. Actually, this is your first time on the stream, isn't it?
Yes, yes, it is.
Oh my God, this is okay. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Luna Corva. He is a laughably dapper member. Please enjoy the sounds of his voice as he reads the story for us.
Including using the voice of the character that I am most known for in this group. Alright. File. SM case transcripts. Clearance maximum. Contents 4 documents. Username hashtag mholmes439. Fingerprint scan positive. Retinal scan positive. Vocal recognition positive. Accessing. Document 1. Transcript of audio file Dict 1. Original file from Scotland Yard Archives. Date 19th the 10th, 2010. Interviewer Detective Inspector Gregory Lestrade. Present Mr. Sherlock Holmes, Dr. Mary Blackwood. Location St. Anne's Psychiatric Institute. What date did you say this was? Sorry? When you recorded the date, you said it was the 19th. What date do you think it is, Sherlock? How many days have you lost? I had anticipated I'd been here for 2 or 3 days. However long it took for the drugs to wear off. Drugs? Yes, Lestrade, drugs. Whatever the murder I've been pursuing gave me to induce a psychosis-like state and have me committed. Whereas John? Was he also institutionalized? Would I be correct in saying that the last thing you remember is the morning of October the 3rd? You're avoiding my questions. You're avoiding mine. Why am I here? You weren't drugged. You suffered a complete psychotic break. We had you hospitalized for a few days, and when it seemed like you were going to recover for a while, we moved you here. You then progressed to a catatonic stupor. This morning you came out of it and demanded to see me. And I thought you wanted to talk about what happened. What did happen? What caused this psychotic break of mine? Is it alright if I tell him if he doesn't remember? Tell me what? Normally I wouldn't recommend it. I prefer he came to terms with it himself, but I do understand these are exceptional circumstances. Tell me what, Lestrade? John is dead, Sherlock. He was murdered, brutally, in front of you. Most likely by the man you were trying to catch. You were attacked too. No doubt you've noticed injuries. I hadn't, actually. That's probably part of the repression. Look, I'm sorry, Sherlock, but I need to know what you were investigating that day. Even if you can't remember what happened to John, you must have deduced enough for the murderer to consider you a threat. Did you work out who he was? Did you find any evidence we can use? Are there pictures? Photographs of the crime scene? Yeah, here. Standard SOC photos, plus someone from the camera of the woman who found you. Are you sure you want to see them? They're not exactly pleasant. Show me! I have to see! See if he's there! The murderer? You think we might have caught him on film? We went through some of them ourselves. Can you see anything we missed? Sherlock? Sherlock? Hello? Mr. Holmes, can you hear me? Pupils unresponsive. No reaction to pain. I'm sorry, Inspector. We've lost him again. No, I'm sorry. Shouldn't have come here. It's just he's our best chance. There's been 8 more murders and we still haven't got a clue. What about the woman you mentioned? The one who found them? Could she have seen anything? We don't know. She's in room 71. Oh. End of first document. Document 2. Transcript of audio file Dict 3. Original file from Scotland Yard Archives. Date 25th of the 10th, 2010. Interviewer, Detective Inspector Gregory Lestrade. Present, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, Dr. Mary Blackwood, Nurse Timothy Baines. Location, St. Anne's Psychiatric Institute. How have you been? Oh, yes, all right. That was a bit of a stupid question. I hear you stabbed a nurse during art therapy. She was asking too many questions. Told me to use the paintbrush to deal with my problems. The worrying thing is, that sounds like something you do. Is there a reason you came here, or you were just making awkward conversation? I wanted to ask you a few things. We went to your flat and got your notes on the case. Sorry, I missed my place. Went to your flat and got your notes on the case, but they're, well, incomprehensible. I was wondering if you could talk me through them, but I don't want to upset you. I'll be fine. Are you sure? I don't want to get shanked with a spork or something. I'll only do that if you leave. I'm rotting in here, Lestrade. There are things crawling in my mind, hiding in the empty places. I can hear them. I need stimulation or it'll kill me. He wants to be distracted, Inspector. He likes being given things to think about, including the case he was working on before. As long as you don't try to make him access specifically repressed memories, he's stable. Okay, well, if there's anything you don't want to talk about, you let me know. Right, so you had photos of previous murders, which I got, but why do you have the meteorological data? Does he strike during certain weather conditions? Fog. He attacks during fog? No, he is fog. It shrouds him, poisoning the air so you lose your way, lose your mind. So he attacks during fog? Now you had a couple of maps with pins in them. The red pins are murder locations. What are the blue pins for? Children. Children? Haven't been any children murdered. That's because he doesn't kill them. He takes them. Jesus Christ, we had no idea. There were at least 20 blue pins on that map. 32. How do you know it was him? It's what he does. Sometimes the fog comes and nobody is killed, but somebody is taken. Always children. He calls them to him. God, I'm going to have to check if you're right. Why didn't you tell me? I wasn't sure. There was insufficient data. I had to confirm something. The fog. What was... I wouldn't ask him that. He's getting agitated. I do wish you wouldn't talk about me like I'm some animal at the zoo. Yes, anyway. Don't worry about that. There was something else I wanted to talk about. I found this thing in German. It's been a while since O-levels, but I think it says, he comes from the trees. He searches. The sun. Do not say that name! What? If you ever listen to me, ever trusted my judgment, you must not say that name. Do you understand? You found out who it was? You found the name of the murderer? Lestrade, please. Of all the police officers I've worked with, you always seem the most competent. You have even 1 ounce of self-preservation. You will do as I say. Keep investigating if you must. Find his pattern and use that to warn people when he's most likely to strike. But do not pursue him and never, ever say his name. I'm sorry. Sherlock, I should have thought... That's what happened to you, isn't it? You worked out who he was and he tried to silence you. Look at me, Lestrade. There are possibly 2 people in the world who can even think about matching my intellect. And now there are whispers in my skin, and I can't go outside without having a panic attack, because there are some things on this earth that even my mind cannot comprehend. It's okay. We'll stop him. Make sure this never happens again. No! You idiot! Nobody can stop him because he isn't even human. Even John can... Sherlock, you need to calm down. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. I have to make him understand. I thought we could track it. I find out what caused the fog. I thought I was safe. There was something wrong. I was scared. I'm never scared. John wouldn't listen. He laughed at me. He changed. Something inside him. I saw it. Sherlock, please. Are you all right? I don't think he broke it. Stay away! You're all contaminated! I see it! He's there! Behind your eyes! Tim, can you hold him down while I sedate him? I think it might be better if you leave, Inspector. No! Stop it! He'll find me if I sleep! End of document. Document 3. Transcript of surveillance file GL Home 8.6. Original file from telephone tap. Date 26th of the 10th, 2010. Time 7:32. Speakers Detective Inspector Gregory Lestrade, Dr. Mary Blackwood. Hello? Hi, is that Inspector Lestrade? It's Dr. Blackwood from St. Anne's. You told me to call if anything happened. Oh, yeah, hi. What can I do for you? Sherlock tried to kill himself last night. What? It was ingenious in a way. We have all sorts of procedure for this sort of thing, especially in violent patients. What did he do? He broke his own neck. We're still not sure how. He's alive, though, and conscious. We've got him in a brace and under observation. Jesus. At least he survived. Yes. He hasn't stopped talking since we stabilized him. I thought you might be able to use some of what he said, so I've been writing it down. That's very good of you. Thanks. I'll come and have a look at it. It's... Do you know how long I've had this job? 13 years. I've seen hundreds of patients with traumatic experiences, but with Sherlock... You know the expression, there's method in his madness? It's Shakespeare. Yeah, I know it. I've never seen anyone who fits that better than him. It's like he's speaking some kind of code, and if we can crack it, then we'll understand everything that happened. It's clear that he's demonized the murderer, seeing him as some kind of supernatural monster, but there's a consistent theme and coherency to what he says. I don't know, maybe I'm starting to lose it myself. Can you elaborate a bit? Well, since Sherlock was committed here, I've been reading about the murders. Most victims, including John Watson, were murdered during fog in wooded or grassy areas, yes? Yeah, and all their organs were removed and put back again. Some were impaled on trees. We're still trying to work out how he did that. Sherlock's been saying that this creature, whatever he thinks it is, comes from the trees, or out of the ground, bringing a fog with him. He says the victims open themselves like files to the sun, and that something in the fog makes them go to him. Okay. Do you remember yesterday how he said he was scared and John was laughing? I think the murder is some sort of gas, and he waits until it's already foggy so you don't notice and breathe it in. What if there is a bad visibility and there'd be fewer people around too? That's certainly an angle I hadn't thought about pursuing. If that's true, he'd have to buy some pretty serious chemicals somewhere. Could probably trace them. Doesn't make you crazy, Mary. That wasn't the crazy bit. Oh? When Sherlock was ranting, he kept asking to talk to me alone. It isn't exactly procedure, but I made sure he was secure and couldn't hurt himself for me, then sent the other doctors outside. What did he say? I had to lean right down, so he could whisper into my ear. He told me that the murderer is looking for something when he opens up his victims, something that's inside them, but he never finds it. And then he said the murderer found it inside him. You're right. That is crazy. I know it is, but Sherlock's the only victim who's left alive, and he does have a scar from sternum to pelvis, like he'd been opened up. The murder was just interrupted, that's all. It's bloody good that he was, too, because we wouldn't stand a hope in hell of catching him without Sherlock's help. Has he said anything else important? I'm not sure if the rest is significant. He keeps talking about too many limbs and how the murderer is so tall and slender, but I don't know how much of that is in his mind, trying to cope. Well, I'll still come and pick up the... Ah! What happened? Are you alright? Yes. Yes, I'm fine. Sorry. I think a bird flew into my window. It's okay. We're all a bit highly strung at the moment. Just a tad. So, I'll come and pick up your notes today, yes? Yes, that's fine. Will I be able to talk to Sherlock? I give him a few days. Wait until he's not on suicide watch. Sure. So, I'll see you later. Yes, thank you, Inspector. Greg, please. Alright, Greg. Later then. You've been a great help. Bye. Bye. End of document. Document 4. Final document. Transcript of audio file. Dict 7. Original file from Project Samhain Archives. Date 1st of the 11th, 2010. Interviewer, Detective Inspector Gregory Lestrade. Present, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, Dr. Anthony Stevens, Nurse Timothy Baines. Location, St. Anne's Psychiatric Institute. Okay, you're recording. Now answer my question. Who said it? Who said what? Don't be dense, you know what I mean. Someone said his name. Wasn't you. You've got enough of a superstitious streak in you to actually heed my warnings, especially after she went missing. So who said it? How did... Oh, fine. Donovan. She thought I was being ridiculous. And when did she start hearing noises at night? She hasn't mentioned anything. Sherlock, we've been looking into the mythos behind this name. It's a ghost story on the internet. Bunch of people making creepy pictures on Photoshop. I discovered that too. Yeah, I noticed that one of your little scraps of paper had a few forum usernames on it. Victor Surge, C.E. Gars, that kind of thing. Those two are the same person. I know. I also know he's dead. Hanged himself just after the first series of murders was reported. Couldn't deal with what he'd caused, perhaps. It's pretty clear that the murder is heavily inspired by these stories. All the stories are inspired by him. I'm tired of this, Sherlock. I know you've been through a lot, and I know this is your way of coping, but we have to find out who this guy is. There have been 98 deaths and disappearances related to this case, 37 of whom were children. One of my officers was found dead last night. It has to stop. Please, if there's anything left of your sanity in there, tell me what you saw. Tell me who did this. You aren't going to like it. Try me. They do it to themselves. Excuse me? He never touches them. Not at first. He just watches as they slice open their own stomachs. It was John who cut me, and he cut himself as well. Then he just lay there, bleeding out, waiting to be examined. I tried to help him. That's not possible. Even with drugs, they can't all have done the same thing. Believe what you must. I know what happened. And what about you? Why weren't you examined? I was. You... Oh, yes, you told Mary. He found something. He did. Isn't it wonderful? All this time he's been searching, and it was in me. What did he find? I'm not allowed to tell you. Oh, for fuck's sakes! Please, I am literally begging you. Stop with the monster stuff. This is beyond a joke now. I'll have to ask you to stop antagonizing my patient, Inspector Lestrade. Oh, just shut up! Christ, I'm going to end up locked in here myself with this guy and start answering my questions and stop talking about fucking Slender Man! Oh, yes. There it is. What? You happy that I finally said the name now? Of course. It's what we were waiting for. We? You should never have made me remember, Lestrade. You should have left me here to die. And above all, you should never have said that name to me. Because now he's here. And we're going to have so much fun. End of document. End of file. File. SM case report. Clearance maximum. Contents 1 document. Accessing. Document 1. Report on the incident at St. Anne's Psychiatric Institute. At 15:24 November 3rd, 2010, a fire broke out at the institution. It consumed 2/3 of the building before the emergency services were able to extinguish the flames. Of the 200 patients and 83 staff members present at the time of the fire, 274 were found dead on the scene, all killed by disembowelment prior to immolation. The remaining 9 bodies, including that of Sherlock Holmes, who had been investigating SM, were never recovered. Detective Inspector Gregory Lestrade found decapitated and hanging by his feet from a tree some 13 miles away. A dictaphone was in his pocket on which were 2 recordings, an interview with Sherlock Holmes, and what appeared to be 20-second recording of screeching metal and screams. It assumed this recording was during the attack. Since this incident, no other murders appear to have been committed by SM. End of document. End of file. Are you sure you want to delete the file SM case transcripts and SM case report? Files deleted. New file. Title SM. Do not investigate. There is no more time. All records have been purged. Project Samhain cannot be stopped. Never say his name. And that's the end of the story.
Dang.
Yep,
Wow.
I was actually going to do it for my channel, and I completely fudged it up.
But thank you for reading that. All right, guys. This has been a long stream, and you've heard a lot of pastas. I'm sorry we didn't get to read all of them, but thank you guys so very much for joining us here tonight. We're going to go ahead and end the stream there. We will see you guys later. Have a
Will we keep
wonderful
talking
evening.
on Skype after the stream?
You guys can. I have something I need to work on for Laughably Dapper Entertainment. You guys will see that.
Ooh.
You guys will see that posted hopefully either tonight or tomorrow. So keep an eye open on the channel. Have a good night, guys. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Everyone.